Right, today we're going to be talking about things that have helped me and things that have supported me on my path for spiritual growth. Now, I have my handy list here because we're going to get into it. And for those of you that don't know, I'm Natalie, and I've been on my spiritual journey for a few years now. Now, I've been through the motions of my own transformation, and you can go check out my blog and check out my Instagram and any old videos to see what I was like at the beginning of my transformation. So these are just some things that have really supported me, and we'll get into them. First thing, reading. So I'm not just talking about books, but I am also talking a lot about books. Because reading different books and gaining perspective from different sources has really enabled me to just widen my own perspective and enabled me to think outside of the box as well. So, and I'm not just talking about books, I did mention that, but I'm also talking about reading things online, researching. If I have a question, then I'm straight on Google trying to find the answer, and reading other people's blogs, reading other people's social media posts, and as I said, really just gaining perspective. Now, a lot of the books that I do read now, and a lot of the books that I have read, first of all, you're going to find them in the highlights on my Instagram. And second of all, they are a lot about spiritual development, and again, seen from an alternate perspective, and a lot about just general self-development. And so I'm talking focusing on money mindset, focusing on physical health, focusing on emotional health, focusing on just mindset in general and discipline. And all of these things over time, and I say over time, it's been, I want to say the last 2.5 years when I'm recording this in July 2023. But over that time, reading these books has really helped me to grow as a person, and therefore supported me on my spiritual path. So, number 2 is being completely honest with myself. Now, in order to grow, you have to be honest with yourself. You can't lie to yourself and expect yourself to move beyond a certain frame of reference. And if you are lying to yourself, then that's an injustice to yourself. So when I talk about being completely honest with myself, first of all, cultivating that space for me to be completely honest with myself. So if I, let's say for example, am thinking about a specific thing which may be negatively inclined, or if I have certain thoughts and ideas, and I'm a prolific daydreamer, so if I have certain thoughts and ideas where I kind of get lost away in my own little world, then being honest with myself and keeping myself grounded in reality, and being honest with myself about some of the things that I want for myself and want for my future, and identifying why. What is underneath there? What is the real reason behind all of this? So if you're on your path, then how can you cultivate, first of all, the space for you to be honest with yourself? Because without that, then you may find that you're subconsciously rejecting the truth. And if you're rejecting the truth, the real truth of who you are and where you are and what you're doing and your own thought stream, then you may be rejecting a whole part of yourself and a lot of your own shadow. And to transmute your shadow and to grow, you've got to accept it. So you've got to bear the truth. So number 3 is inner child healing and mothering myself. Now, I began with my inner child healing, and when I first began with my inner child healing, I remember doing this almost like a meditation, so you may find it useful actually. So I sat down, and the intention was to connect with a younger version of myself that I think it was maybe at that time didn't feel safe with me, or was angry, or just had something to say. So in this meditation, I went back in my mind and I revisited, I think it was my 6 or 7-year-old self. Now, this wasn't the very beginning of my inner child healing, but this was a pivotal point in my inner child healing. And in this meditation, my inner child did not want to have anything to do with me. It was genuinely, excuse me, I'm gonna burp. No, I'm not. But she didn't want to know me. She was angry, hurt. So in that space, connecting as the adult version of myself to the inner child version of myself, I had to first of all create that safe space. And I've done that through nurturing myself and play as well. So I didn't speak to my inner child as to what is it that I want from my inner child. I spoke to my inner child of what does my inner child want from me. You know what my inner child wanted from me at that time in that meditation? Was to race across a field. So that's what I've done. And that's what I do now. So that massively helped, not just that one occurrence, and this was over a period of time, but mothering myself, nurturing myself, being there for myself, and listening to myself, what my inner child has got to say, what my inner teenager has got to say, and just being there to connect with myself. So now, through the cultivation of these habits, I find myself all the time nurturing myself, holding myself, and that has been a massive turning point thing for my journey, because if I didn't do any of that, then I wouldn't have the connection that I have with those parts of myself. So if you're on a journey of spiritual growth, how can you connect with your inner child, and how can you speak to them rather than have them approach you with whatever it is that you want from them? I hope that made sense. That didn't really come out the way that I wanted it to come out, but it came out regardless. Anyway, the next thing is creativity, nurturing your creativity. Now, for me, it was poetry. It's always been poetry. And jeez, I'm going to choke my saliva. But poetry. So for me, it was nurturing that creative seed in myself. So for you, what is it that you used to do when you were a child? What are the little dreams that you had when you were a child, and how can you bring them into the present moment? How can you begin to nurture those things that make you you? And nurturing your creativity and developing your own style of voice through whatever means that may be, but again, specifically on creation, then not only are you connecting with your emotions, but you're connecting with the universal essence of creation of life. And there's nothing more beautiful than creating from this moment right now. And I genuinely do think about this, right? When we create from the void. There's nothing that exists, and we are that creative spark. So if you can nurture that, work with that, develop that, watch yourself grow in the process, incredible. And for me, that's really helped not only connect to my inner child, my inner teenager, but also for me to connect with just who it is that I am in this body at this moment. It's pretty cool. I'm going to do energy clearing. So I'm only going to keep this one brief because this is a massive subject within itself. But energy clearing and being mindful of where my energy is going and the connections that I have with other people, making sure that me as a vessel is energetically clear. So what I mean when I say that is subconscious blockages and working to identify what those subconscious blockages are, where they reside in me as an energy system, and how can I consciously remove these energy blockages to enable me to be free flowing as me and my body in this time. And again, I'm probably going to do a full video on this because it's such an interesting topic and I have a really, really good book for it. So make sure you subscribe. And the last one is making my own mind up and following my own path. Now, this is something that is so important to me. So important to me. And I feel like it's been one of the most profound and most beneficial things that's happened for me on my journey is following my own path. And I think that everybody should. But again, listen to what feels right to you. So when I talk about following your own path, I'm talking about, for me, listening to my own mind, listening to my own gut feelings, listening to my own intuition, my own guides, my own spirit, my own soul, making my own mind up and using my own discernment. So with that, acknowledging the things that are happening externally, but finding such an unshakable trust within myself, which is something that I generally practiced anyway before my awakening. But on my awakening, it is very important, and it still is very important, that I make up my own mind and I follow my own path. Because to put it into perspective, if you're in a space where you are looking for that external person to say, this is the path that you should take, whilst it's incredibly helpful and can be incredibly insightful for, perspective or validation for what you're experiencing, it's really important to come back to yourself and remember that your path is completely different to anybody else's path that walks this earth. So, as I was saying, to put it in perspective, your soul has been developing over lifetimes, has incarnated in this physical vessel with its unique energy signature to then be walking your path with the circumstances that are laid out before you, which are completely unique to you, and your experiences that you've had in the world as you navigate daily life, and all of this with the collective experience of your ancestors that runs through your DNA and the call from your higher self as well. You can't be any more unique if you tried. So to try and follow somebody else's path, I personally think it's ludicrous. So this is why it's been important for me that to stick to my own morals, my own values, my own ways of thinking, because I'm unique just as everybody else is unique. So take that with you, and as I was saying, we all need that mirror back from people. We're a collective species and we're there to support each other on each other's path. But remember, when it comes down to it, trust in your inner gut. Trust in the wisdom that you have inside, and knowing that when you're connecting with universal life force energy, that the universe got your back. Even if it doesn't seem like it does, the universe got your back. Okay? So they're some of the things that have really supported me on my spiritual path. Now, there are several other things that have also supported me, and if you want me to run through any more things, then just drop a comment. And if you have any other things that you want to know, or any other guidance or advice, and as I say, drop a comment, and I will be doing more videos like this in the future to just offer some of the nuggets of wisdom and the nuggets of perspective that have been gifted to me from books, people, and the universe, and sharing it with you. So enjoy that, and let me know where you are on your spiritual journey as well, and I look forward to experiencing more of my own transformation and watching you transform as well. So adios.